Hey guys, it's Celia here, and today we're going to be talking about mental health, the how-tos, the contributing factors, and I will be giving some of my confessions. I will try to do them also throughout this kind of podcast sort of situation, and I would like to add a little disclaimer and say that this is the first time I'm attempting something like this, so I'm sorry if it doesn't, exactly sound perfect or go as planned. I will try my best to do the best that I can. And I'm not going to get into like super duper details about my life because I don't want to make this super long, but I'm going to try to cut it short and keep it to the point. So to start off, I would like to address what mental health is and what it means. And I did look up the definition on Google by putting it in the search bar, and it basically said that it has to do with a person's psychological and emotional well-being. Now, to put my spin on it, I do believe that is correct, but I do believe that there are stages of having good and bad mental health. Excuse me, I drink a lot of fizzy soda. But there are a lot of different stages. There's different ways of coping with it, and there's different ways of telling the signs of it. So first I'm going to address the two factors that contribute towards mental health, and they are most commonly known as 1, anxiety, and 2, as depression. So the truth is, and I did look this up online, anxiety disorders are the most common mental illnesses or mental illness in the US, and about 40 million people are affected by it, especially ages 18 and up. I did get this on ada.org, just adaa.org. Now, I do believe that people 18 and up can have these disorders, and maybe it's not as prevalent in the younger ages. Maybe it's something that starts to form until you turn 18, but that would be something interesting to look into. But anyway, moving on. When it comes to depression, about 350 million people worldwide suffer from depression, according to the World Health Organization, also known as WHO, just WHO. And a question I'd like to pose is, what is the big why and how can we solve the problem? Now, I'm going to give you guys some of my tips and also things that I've just kind of wrote down. So the first thing is social media. The negatives of social media is that we like to compare ourselves on there. We like to look at other people's successes and think, oh, why am I not at that stage of my life? And sometimes social media can just kind of drain us from motivation and creativity. Like, I know myself, when I see that there is a woman particularly who has a really nice fit body. She has like the big chest area, the big butt area, the slim waist, and she looks like she's very fit and healthy. I get overcome with jealousy. I think, oh my god, I'm sitting here with my fat stomach coming out because I can't stop eating at midnight, and I can't get myself to work out every day like I'm supposed to, or figure things out with the gym, and I start to hate myself a little bit. And this is the confession I'm giving you guys. And basically what I started to learn is that is so unhealthy, it's so annoying to deal with, and it doesn't get you anywhere. So some tips I would like to give, and this is a not harsh reality at all, but sometimes you have to pick yourself up and you have to tell yourself, you know what, I'm sick of this, get yourself up, we're gonna keep going. And what I mean by this is, instead of thinking, oh my god, they look better than me, their lives are better than me, I'm living this boring life where I don't even go out every week, and I feel like, what am I doing with my life, like I'm not even connecting with new people. I realized that you don't have to go out every day, you don't have to go out every week, you don't have to go out every damn weekend. You can take some time for yourself and figure yourself out. Now, with regards to social media, I look at those people and I think, okay, well, I will take what I can and apply it to my life, in the sense that instead of looking at them with hate, say, you know what, I appreciate this person. I appreciate the post on Instagram I see because they are trying to get me to be a stronger and better me, and showing me what I want to be motivated to do. So instead of hating the bodies they have, I think, you know what, I give them props, they worked so hard for it, and I want to get to that body or achieve that healthy and fit body to make myself feel better inside and out. I will follow those steps. So I started following a lot of these women who hit the gym on Instagram so I can get motivation, so I can start doing the same thing. So I basically turned my negative thoughts into positive thoughts by just switching that part of my mental state of being that said all these negative things, because negativity will not get you far. And I do actually follow motivational Instagram people, and just see motivational pictures every day that say, stay on your grind, for example, or something really inspirational, and I tend to follow those so that every other post you can see them, because I feel like if you fill your social media with positive and reinforcing things excuse me guys, it really helps, and it helps you move forward to your goal and realize that positivity does get you further. Whereas on Facebook, I have less of that, and I have more people just having like memes and jokes and stuff, which is fine, but sometimes you need motivation. Now, the second thing I would like to talk about is our environment. So this has to do with toxic relationships, friendships, coworkers, etc., etc. And I think our environment plays a big role. If we have family problems or problems with our roommate or even with ourselves or where we're living, it's a big deal. And for me personally, I remember I hated being in the city of Chicago, and I don't mind saying this because Chicago is pretty big, so, you know. But anyway, I hated being in Chicago. I remember walking my dog and just coming home from school some days and being like, I hate this city. I think it's really agitating. Like, I've done everything I could possibly do, which is actually not true. It was just me being silly, and I'm sick of it. I want to move, blah, blah, blah. Then I realized that was my emotional state speaking. I didn't logically think, okay, do I have a plan of moving? Do I have the money for it? Do I know how to get this done? Like, how am I going to execute this action? And that was my problem. I wasn't thinking logically because I was just so angry at the world. I was so upset. I was so, out of it. Like, oh, I feel miserable where I'm at. And at one point I felt miserable, and it was an on and off feeling. And I'm admitting this because I feel like we all go through that. Maybe some of us don't. Maybe some of us are content where we are, which is amazing. But I wasn't. And my advice to people who may feel this way, or, just want to hear something that I'm going to say about that, is regarding our environment, you have to appreciate what you have. And I think something I try to teach myself every day is gratitude. Be grateful for what you have. Instead of me saying I'm miserable in this city, I have to think, okay, well, I'm in this city because I grew up in this city, and if I want to go somewhere else, I need to plan to go somewhere else. I need to stop being a little what and get my stuff together with it. And then another thing is that I learned that you have to be grateful and say, I'm happy for my family, I'm happy for the pets I have, I'm happy for my opportunities here. Like, I will finish what I started in this city, and then I will move on somewhere else and start a different life there when I am ready. When I'm physically, emotionally, mentally, and especially financially ready. And it sounds hard, like, okay, well, what if you're feeling this in the moment? Me just saying that's not going to help you. You're probably going to be like, F off, like, that's not good enough for me. But if that's something you want, maybe start sketching or journaling or planning out your next move to make you feel a little better. Or, something that helped me a lot was just kind of visiting my long distance boyfriend, who of course was in a different state, because it gave me a break from where I was at. So maybe, like, if you can't afford to travel, which is perfectly understandable because I know everybody has a different financial situation, go to a friend's house for a sleepover. If you have friends that you do that with, or anybody, or even your boyfriend's house or something, if you're dating someone. If you're single, like I said, try to find a friend. If not, as crazy as this sounds, maybe like find a hotel somewhere and take some space to yourself. I learned that helps a lot because you get away from your every day-to-day area and situation, and you get to kind of reassess some things and come back with a fresh and clear mind. Or if it's a road trip, like if you have a car, just go road trip or something. I'm just trying to offer different options because I understand, people have different situations, and I just want to appeal to each situation and be as helpful as I can, because then I feel horrible for this. But yeah, that's what I have to say about environment. I'm going to quickly talk on relationships and friendships. If you feel like you need space from your friends or your significant other, whether you're dating a boy or girl, same gender, whatnot, I don't judge. Obviously you do what you want, it's your life. Of course, go ahead and let them know that. Be honest with the person, and if you feel like you can't talk to them, that might be a red flag. Obviously, take some space away. If you feel like this person is just constricting your life and just making it worse, then of course, go ahead and cut them out of your life. You can do this in a positive way. It doesn't have to be negative, just so you don't have like a big argument and everything crashes and burns. Because a confession I would like to give, I'm not going to name any names because it's very childish and I would never do that. But I did have friendships that ended, and one of them did end in a bad note, and it blew up on social media. I didn't want it to start that way, but of course it ended. I do keep these people on social media. I see what they're up to, not to be a creep or anything like that, but I know, okay, well, I'm not friends with them anymore. Maybe this was supposed to happen. And yeah, you just have to reassess those things. Like I said, whether it's a relationship or someone you're dating, sometimes you have to either take that space for yourself and see if the space helped, or take a break if you feel like you're going to argue with them. Something a good friend told me today is sometimes you have to take a break when you're feeling mad and then talk to your friends, just so you don't blow up on them and make them feel bad. And like I said, if you feel like there's people in your life that are doing you more harm than good, don't be afraid to cut them out. And if it's hard for you to cut them out, maybe try to hang out with them less, or find a way to even like write a letter or something if it's really hard for you with communication, which I know for me it used to be really hard to tell people the truth. And I did recently end up having, a pretty big argument with somebody, and the friendship just ended like that because I pent all of my angry energy up, and instead of being honest with this person and sitting down with them and being like, you know what, like, that's what we have to do sometimes. You have to say, hey, let's meet at a cafe and just talk, without our phones there, without like focusing on all these other things, and just talk it out and tell them your true feelings, as hard as it is. Or like I said, write them a letter and just have them, like I said, just send it to them. Either like type it out on your phone, or have a manual letter and give it to, I don't know, their family member or something, or to them at work or anything, and just walk away. And if that's if you're really bad with confrontation, do that. So that's all my tips for that. Oh, and then work. That was my last thing regarding work. If you feel like your work environment is affecting you and it's just getting old for you, change your job. Give your 2 weeks notice, do a resignation letter, do whatever you have to do, and find a new job. But of course, have a new job just so you're not losing out on money, because finances are pretty important. So make sure of that. If not, stick with the job and maybe talk to your boss, see if there's anything you can do, and vice versa, and so forth. Sorry about that. So yeah, now we're going to move on to the third step situation, which is self-esteem, confidence, and lack of motivation. So self-esteem is important is because you have to deal with yourself every single day. So you have to find a way to love yourself and find coping mechanisms for negative behavior tactics or negative behaviors that come up. So like, I know people who tend to feel depressed have a lack of motivation. They don't want to get out of bed. They don't want to deal with people or go out sometimes on a day-to-day basis, or they want to be cooped up inside. There's so many different ways to, have telltale signs of depression. Sometimes you lose interest in day-to-day activities and you just start to wonder, like, what's the point of living? Like, everything is just the same and repetitive and so forth. And something I have to give as a tip to this and a solution is that, first of all, you have to love yourself. Because yes, other people can love you, and I mean, there's been so many phrases thrown around, especially on Facebook, like, oh, no one can love you until you love yourself. Well, that's actually wrong. People can love you even if you have a hard time loving yourself. I personally, here's another confession. I remember there were times where I didn't love myself, and I'm not talking about love yourself where you're cocky and you're like, oh my god, I think I'm the best thing ever. No, of course not. I'm talking about when you would have problems, like when you would feel kind of agitated with yourself, or you're like, I need to change this about myself or that about myself. I know I had days like that, and I know my boyfriend was my rock for me because he would still love me, he would still deal with me. Now I give him props for that, but obviously you do have to, love yourself as well, just so you can exude that love to other people, and not be so negative all the time and bitter and whatnot. And a tip you can do is you could literally look at yourself every night or every day in the mirror. Don't laugh at me for this, guys, this actually works. And all the things that you think are flaws, turn those flaws into positives. And I think I saw this on a show, so I can't really reference that show because I don't even remember the name of it. But every time you say, oh, I have belly fat, be like, okay, well, this belly fat makes me who I am, and I will lose it if I work hard and if it's really bothering me. And it's normal, it happens. That's what happens when you eat food, as long as you're not unhealthy. Or, oh, I have a big nose. That's my confession. I've always thought I had a big nose, and people would always make fun of me for it, and my chin, but those people can go do something else because it's stupid. And instead of saying, oh my god, I'm so awful looking, say, well, these are my character flaws. I'm not supposed to look like everybody else, and I love that part of me. And like I said, there were moments where I wanted to, I didn't say this before, I'm blabbering again, guys, but anyway, in the past, I have wanted a nose job because I was so paranoid about my nose and I hated my nose so much, and then I realized, what if something goes wrong? Then what? You're going to hate it even more. Or why are you going to throw out thousands of millions of dollars that you don't have, I also actually wanted a boob job before, and I feel so funny saying this because people listening are going to be like, what the heck? Because I used to think my boobs were so small and just like, I don't know, I was like flat-chested or something. I thought I look horrible, I look pregnant or something because my chest is smaller and my stomach is like not, slim like it should be. I would always look at other people and be like, oh my goodness, I look like a bear or something. Yeah, it's really silly. It's just something with self-confidence, and obviously I'm not extremely over that right now, but I'm learning that, sometimes you have to work with what God gave you. If you are religious and believe this, great. If you are an atheist or, believe in God, you could just think, okay, these physical features were given to me and I have to work with what I have. If I have the money, maybe I can do surgery for it, but it's not right to just resort to surgery. You have to find a way to deal with it, and you have to find a way to realize that it is beautiful, and that, because for me, I'm a perfectionist. You can't always think like a perfectionist. You have to realize that the world is not perfect, and you will not look, oh my god, perfect. I mean, some women do to like some men and vice versa and all that stuff, but like I said, you have to find a way to cope with that and not let other people get to you. Because when I was younger, people always called me butt chin, for example, because I had a cleft in my chin, and I'd let it get to me, and now I'm like, okay, what's the big problem? It's a cleft in my chin. Like, get over it. It's not a big deal. And people making fun of you, they had nothing better to do. Plus, half the time it was guys, and they were just being assholes, but I'm not going to name names because I don't really care about that. And just learn to forgive those people and say, you know what, I'm moving on, and like I said, these are things that I'm going to move on with better. Okay, that made no sense, but yeah. Now, a few other quick tips I want to give, because I don't want to make this super long. We're already 16 minutes in. Is if you are feeling very bad, if you're feeling very depressed, if you're having suicidal thoughts, then talk to someone. Talk to a therapist, a counselor, whether it's in school, the therapist if it's out of school, or even to a, friend's parent, or like I said, a boyfriend, girlfriend, or just some kind of person that you can confide in. It's very important. And like I said, if you don't have many people to confide in, you can even use those websites. I personally don't know how they are, so I don't want to say much about them. There are websites where you can talk to, like, I believe, like, therapists or counselors, or an app or something if you really need that. Like I said, I'm not going to give any suggestions because I'm not sure, so I do apologize for that inconvenience. And I know that I have a friend who sometimes, likes to talk to, like, my mom if I'm ever by her house or something, and my mom and I are by her house, or like I came over or something, I don't even know, and that's someone that she can confide in about things because she knows my mom's not going to tell anyone. So that's just an example of something. Another thing is, like I said, if you're feeling very depressed or anxious, then find a hobby. Get busy. Find a sport you like, or something like video filming or photo shoots, or I don't know, becoming Instagram famous or something, or even school. Like when the school year starts, pick as many classes as you want. Go to the gym. I know for me, I really like boxing. That's my confession. I love boxing a lot, because I personally, I have some anger here and there that, is not always good, and I don't always have the most healthiest habits with getting irritable easily. So I liked boxing because I was learning self-defense, and at the same time taking all my anger out that was pent up, and like punching, like the dummy or something. Obviously I didn't feel good hurting people, because no way in hell, but I did like to, work off of like the dummy and whatever, and just imagine like me, just having self-defense tactics that I know and can go by. And yeah, that was one of the things. Also, video ideas. Recently I've been really into kind of YouTube and finding YouTube ideas, and the reason I think that was the best thing for me, because I get bored easily with things every day, and even life sometimes it can get, a little, not too much, but it could be to the point where you're not always being able to be happy. And I get it, sometimes, you have to work and you have other things to be doing, but I know for me YouTube is fun because I can, plan certain days. I can have, I want 2 videos in a week that I have to plan for, and it always keeps my mind busy. Like I said, this podcast was like a day delayed, which I do apologize for that, guys, but hey, it's still going. I'm still about to put this out on social media for you. And like I said, that's why I said hobby. Now, if you're working, I understand. Right now I'm not exactly working that much, but I'm figuring that out. And if you're working out, I understand that can be kind of tough and annoying stuff to make your money, which is perfectly fine. But days that you come home from work, crack open that bottle of wine and put yourself some, wine in a glass. Or if you don't want to be that bougie, you can go ahead and have a nice little drink after work by yourself or with your friends, or have a nice meditation session with yourself, or watch like YouTube videos like I sometimes do when I come home and I'm eating, or do something to have you time and to assess your feelings and your thoughts and sometimes journaling helps a lot, so you can kind of write how you're feeling that specific day. Like, let's say June 1st, 2018, you were feeling sad, you were feeling depressed and anxious, and then, June 3rd, 2018, you're feeling happy, you're feeling good, and you can kind of reflect back on that and think, I was feeling this way, but I'm still able to be happy. Because my other confession I would like to give is that I used to journal about things, and sometimes I would read back and be like, that was a miserable little thing, wasn't I? Like, things have changed. But like I said, it helps a lot because you're writing it out on paper and you can look back on it and kind of be like your own therapist. Like, what could have triggered this? Why was I feeling this way? And so forth. Especially if you want to save money, because I know that costs money, even if it's like an app or something. But yeah. And then, of course, I was going to say the last thing as do self-esteem tactics, which, like, of course, is the whole love yourself thing and find yourself. Like, try out different things with your wardrobe, find your identity. I know I'm kind of talking about like physical features, but find something that makes you you. Find that new hobby, find what your passion is. You're passionate about traveling like me sometimes, which, like I said, without the funds you can't really do that. Look into opportunities that you can do to like maybe help you with money, or like start some kind of campaign, or I don't even know. Yeah, I'm getting really cheesy about this, but yeah, like find something. Like, everything is on the internet now, so just go out and find yourself, if that makes any sense. And the last thing I wanted to say regarding tips is that there is a suicide hotline I wanted to mention, because I feel like regarding depression, there is a big talk on suicide, and I know I just shifted the focus of this podcast, I'm sorry, but I did want to mention the National Suicide Prevention number, which the number is 1-800-273-8255. I'm just going to repeat it one more time. 1-800-273-8255. Yes, I had to say it 2 different ways. And I'm just mentioning that because I feel like for people who are really struggling, if you're listening to this, it's going to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. And whatever any of you are going through, like I said, whether it's a silent battle or it's something that people know that you're going through, keep going. Because the one thing that I know I would never want to see is anybody who watches my videos to be, gone one day or something. I'm getting emotional because this happens to people, and, I've actually myself felt like this at one point in my life. But like I said, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to, go through something, because we're humans, we're not perfect, we have flaws, and sometimes life can get too hard and our emotions can take over, or sometimes we can be upset about something for too long, or things can just be out of whack for us. So, like I said, the reason I made this podcast, okay, I need to stop saying like I said, because obviously I didn't say this yet. Sorry guys, I have like this habit or something of doing that. But the point of this is to, just show the big thing about anxiety and depression, and just how hard things can be, and like looking into statistics, just how many people go through this, and how the numbers are not okay, that obviously we are not numbers, and that we can go through this kind of stuff. And like I said, I know a lot of people don't speak out about this, or at least on my social media I haven't seen people mention this a lot, and I get it, people are busy, people are doing their own thing, and you can't always stop and talk about something so seriously, but obviously that's important. And I just want to make this podcast, like I said, make people maybe not feel so alone. Like I said, I hope this podcast helps one person. Even if it helps one person, that would be great. And I know that's like a cheesy thing a lot of people say, but I am serious about this. And then, of course, before we end this podcast, I wanted to mention, give me a thumbs up, or obviously if I put this on YouTube, give me a thumbs up if you like this. Comment if you would like. Let me know if you like the podcast. Was I talking too much? Was the content of it relevant? And all that kind of stuff, because I do like to know this kind of stuff just for my own, well-being, just to know if I need to improve some things when I'm speaking, or with how I'm creating certain things in my creativity. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I hope my confessions were useful, because I made it seem kind of dramatic, which, sorry, it's not supposed to be like some clickbait kind of thing. I really hate that. But yeah, that's all I have for now. Like I said, I hope this helped, and that I wasn't babbling too much. I do apologize. I do have that problem, I will admit it. But yeah, I hope you guys have a nice rest of the night, because I am doing this voicemail at night, or morning, or whatever, because I know some of you are probably traveling or a different country or something, who knows. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I do apologize for some of the kind of sadder parts of this podcast, but I was just trying to be realistic. And yeah, see ya next time.